So if you're watching this video, you probably suffer from anxiety or constant stress, or you just have a bunch of negative self-talk constantly reverberating through your mind. And today we're going to talk about a few things that are going to be able to completely get rid of that negative line of thinking. And I'm going to give you some tools, techniques, practices, things to put into action that are going to completely transform your way of thinking. So let's get straight into the video. So the first tool, trick, or technique that I have for you is a little something that I started doing a long time ago, and this is significantly going to improve your just peace of mind and well-being. Because as I mentioned before, say if you are financially unstable right now, you just lost your job, you are spending every month more money than you make, you're just constantly worried about something, maybe you're waiting to hear some news about your health, you don't know if it's going to be negative or not. Well, let me tell you, this is one thing you can implement starting now, today. It's a mind frame, a mindset, and it's going to help a lot. And that is, ask yourself, what is the worst that's going to happen? So for me, when I was stressed out, living paycheck to paycheck, there's always a new expense or whatever, or there would be 1 month where I was unsure if I was going to make enough money to be able to pay my rent or whatever the case may have been. And after a while, I got to the point where I was able to ask myself and really sit and think, like, because you're stressed, right? Your anxiety, you can't sleep, you're always uncomfortable, you can't really eat. It's constantly negative thoughts in your mind. But when you start to ask yourself, like, what's the worst that could happen? It changes everything. So for example, myself, when I would be financially stressed out and really think like, oh my God, what if I don't make enough? What if I don't make enough? Or how am I gonna pay this? Or who am I gonna ask to borrow money? Then I realized, like, well, if I didn't pay my rent this month, what's the absolutely worst possible thing that could happen? And you start to think, okay, well, if I'm 1 month behind, like, am I realistically gonna just get evicted right away? Probably not. There might be some, like, annoying, you might get letters in the mail, or your landlord's gonna talk to you, or your apartment complex or whatever. Maybe if you don't pay 1 or 2 months, you might have to go to court, whatever the case is. And assuming, or you have to ask someone to borrow money, and if that doesn't work out and you can't borrow any money and you can't pay your rent, okay, well, the worst possible thing that would happen to me is I would have to leave my house. Like, yeah, that sucks, of course. Like, I'm not saying that's a positive thing, but is that really the worst possible thing in the world that could happen? And you realize there are a lot of other people dealing with much worse. Some people got news that they got cancer. Some people lost the ability to walk. Some people lost a child, a parent, so, okay, whatever, I lose my house. Worst case scenario, you ask a family member to stay with them, or you crash on a friend's house, or crash on a friend's couch. And if you don't have anyone, and you might be, if you're that person who's like, well, I don't have any friends or family I could ask, chances are you probably do, but assuming you don't, then okay, you have to sleep outside for a little bit of time. But luckily, most of the people watching here, you live in a country where there's government assistance, so you could literally find a place to stay. They have housing assistance. You can get money for food from the government. You probably still have your job. You could shower at a gym. I'm not saying that's a positive situation, but I'm saying that's not the worst possible thing ever. And if that did happen, unfortunately, it would probably give you more motivation to start actually then doing everything you needed to undo those circumstances. And that's the other thing too. Start to look at your quote unquote rock bottom. I always said it's not rock bottom, it's a trampoline. So if you think you're falling all the way to the bottom, it's not just splat. It's you fall to the bottom, and with all that force and momentum, you use that as a springboard to bounce back up. But once again, that's an extreme worst case scenario. But other than that, just always ask yourself, like, what's the worst? Or if you're looking to start a new endeavor, or you're trying to start a new business, or whatever the case is, ask yourself, like, what's the really worst thing that's going to happen? Chances are the worst thing that's going to happen for whatever it is you're stressed about isn't that bad. Some people are going to judge you. You know, your friends are going to look at you a little funny. Some random person on the street's going to look down on you, or whatever the case is, dude. Like, whatever it is, it's not that bad, you know? And once you adopt that mindset, you stop letting negative stuff that's going on in your life have power over you. Now, if you can't make your car payment 1 month or can't make a bill, okay, oh well. Now you're gonna have a negative ding on your credit report. Yeah, does that suck? For sure. Are you gonna die? Is it gonna kill you? No. You still have your senses, ability to walk, your sight, smell, you have a lot of stuff to be grateful for. So, even your car gets repossessed. Is it gonna suck? Yeah, it sucks, but plenty of people have got their car repossessed before. It didn't kill them. It wasn't the end of the world for them. You'll be fine. And if there's something on your credit report, you can get it removed. I have a credit repair business. So literally, if any of you guys actually are watching and you're struggling with whatever, if you missed a couple bills, you have some late payments, hit me up. I can get any and all negative items removed from your credit report. But anyway, that's just the first method that I want to tell you guys is start to ask yourself, like, if you're really, really, really stressing, what's the worst that can happen, And if it's not that bad, let it go and don't let whatever it is ruin your day every single day. So yeah, just stop living in constant anxiety. If you know it's not like a life or death situation, it's just not worth being stressed out every single day. And now expanding upon that, when it comes to thinking about something negative all day, every single day, also understand that you bring about what you focus on. Like, people oftentimes forget that, but your mind literally wants to bring forward more of what you focus on, because we all know the subconscious mind is indifferent, right? It doesn't care whether it's negative or it's positive. It is a neutral force, a neutral power. And it just knows that if this is what we're focusing on, this is the emotion that we're feeling, the subconscious mind says, oh, well, we must want more of that. So let me give you more, something to stress about, something to be depressed about, something to be anxious about, right? So you need to start to understand the laws of mind. And once you understand that by you focusing on negative is literally what you're getting into your life, and people don't realize that because maybe you are going through something stressful and you can't stop thinking about it. It's like literally a never ending cycle. It's like a negative feedback loop or a catch-22, because by you worrying about the negative circumstance, that's how you're bringing it into your experience, into your third and fourth dimensional reality, by focusing on it, by thinking about it. And then it's even magnified, because we know when you put emotion towards a thought, a visualization, it manifests faster and manifests with more vivid detail, because we all know emotion is just energy in motion. So yes, understand by just you thinking about the negative circumstance, it brings it into your experience. Which leads me to my next point. You're choosing to live a situation twice, because if it hasn't happened yet and you're worrying about it, that means you're experiencing it internally, right? You're thinking about it and you're feeling all the negative emotions. You're literally running through the negative scenario in your mind. You're seeing it already happen. You're stressed about it and you're thinking about what it's going to be like, and you're literally playing it out in your mind. So you're literally living in this hell here on earth internally every single day until it physically comes. And sometimes it doesn't even physically appear, but regardless, you're choosing to experience the negative emotions, the negative experience, the negative feelings, the negative scenario. And so it's like you need to take control of your mind. And even if you think it's going to happen, it takes willpower, but you can choose to think about something else. That is something that we oftentimes forget. It's like the one, I tell this to every single person I talk to and encounter. The only thing, literally the only thing in this entire universe that we have control over is our own thoughts. Think about that. I want to really drive this point in. The only thing that we have 100% control over, like we can't control the weather, we can't control what other people do, we can't control if someone bumps into us on the street, maybe someone might rear end us in a car, we may get in a car accident. Sometimes physical stuff in our reality, we literally can't control, right? There's freak accidents, etc., and sometimes that's out of our control. But our thoughts, we can 100% control. And then understand that our thoughts literally determine and create our reality. So when you are feeling like you're worrying about the negative thing that's on your mind that you think may happen, you're stressed about it, you're having anxiety, exercise willpower, exercise your God given gift of creative imagination and creative thought, meaning that you can create any scenario in your mind that you want, and you can create any feeling that you want. Exercise that and choose to think about the opposite circumstance, or choose to think about the solution to the problem, or focus on the solution. Give thanks that you're not going to experience whatever it is you're worried about. And another thing that we can put into practice that really, really helps you get past like negative circumstances or dealing with negative situations is divine indifference. As I stated earlier in this video, that the power of the mind, right, is a neutral force. Our subconscious mind is neutral. So is God, so is the universe. It is neutral, it's indifferent, right? Every universal force or power, just like water, right? Water can be used to drown an infant, or it can be used to give life to an entire rainforest or the world's food supply and vegetation, vegetables and fruits. Electricity can kill a man, can shock someone and fry them from the inside out, or it can power an entire city and it can power a hospital, right? So these forces in the universe, just like nature, it doesn't care, right? It's neutral, it's indifferent. So we have the choice to utilize any power. And also remember, our thoughts is a force. It's thought force. And it's also our creative imagination is our ability to create our reality. And we can use it for good or we can use it for bad. Most people don't really think about it or use it at all, and they get a bunch of random stuff coming in their mind, or they think a bunch of random thoughts all day, or they may even be leaning a little more towards negativity, and that's what you get in your life. You get a normal, neutral life that's kind of up and down, and maybe leaning a little more to the negative side. But like I said, divine indifference. That means you don't really care either way. And once you kind of stop caring, it's much easier for stuff to manifest, like, because it's a tricky, the mind is very complex in the way it works. It's like these subtle little tricks and hacks that once we learn, it makes all the difference. So let me give you an example. Maybe you really want a new car, right? And if you're constantly wanting this new car and all you can think about is like, I really want this car, I really want this car. I know on the surface, you think like, oh, well, I'm constantly thinking about what I want, so I'm going to get it. Close, but not quite. So when you really, 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 really want something, oftentimes that's accompanied with like a little bit of tension, a little bit of stress, like because you're really wanting it. So that's almost like a negative vibration to want. It's a very subtle difference between want and desire. And when you want something, that is the lack frequency, because when you're wanting it, that means you're sending out the vibration into the universe and back to yourself, your subconscious mind, that you don't have the thing. So what did we talk about earlier? When you don't have it and you're thinking about how you don't have it because you want it, you're going to put yourself in this negative feedback loop. So I really want. I want this new car. I really want this car so bad. And your subconscious mind goes, oh, we want a new car? I'm going to give you more of that. I'm going to make sure you constantly want this new car, because this is the vibration, this is the thought that you're putting so much feeling and emotion into, is the wanting of this new car. So you like this is what you want, this is the signal that you're giving me. Roger that, Captain. Let's do it. I'm going to give you more want. But when you desire it, you think about it, you visualize yourself in the new car, thinking about how the new car will feel and being grateful for the new car, and then stop caring and realize like, it's just a car, see yourself as already having it and driving around in it. Don't think about how you want it, but just see yourself with it, and then don't care and realize like, it's just a car. And once you put something beneath you, and once you minimize something, you're telling your subconscious mind that like, it's not a big deal, it's not significant, I can easily get that, right? Because now you're putting this level of this certain thoughts of like, just it's not a big deal. And if it's not a big deal, then it shouldn't be very hard to acquire, right? So stop caring about like, If someone's going to judge you or you're afraid that you're going to ruin things with your partner, just go, you know what? I'm not going to worry about it, because that's just like nature is. Nature's indifferent. Nature doesn't worry, right? When you see a plant growing, when you see a flower growing out the dirt, the flower's not worrying about, am I gonna grow? Am I gonna grow? Am I growing enough? Are people looking at me? Am I gonna blossom in enough time for people to think I'm beautiful? Am I gonna show my petals so people think I'm beautiful? Oh, is this flower next to me growing? Is it faster than me? Just don't care. Just do, right? So when the more you stop caring about things, the easier these things become. You minimize it in your mind. You become God over your problems. You become bigger than what it is you're trying to create. And that makes it much easier to mold and manipulate that energy and those realities. And so, yeah, that's probably the main point that I want to also drive home, is that when you really, really, really want, whether it's I want more money, you're sending out a lack frequency, a lack vibration. And you know, once you think about what you focus on and give attention to and energy to, and also when you put emotion in it, which is the amplifier, then you get more of it. So now when you want something or something you're trying to bring into your reality, see yourself as already accomplishing it, see yourself as already having it, right? Think about what it's going to feel like to have it, but don't want it, and don't tell yourself you want it. Just see yourself with it and give thanks for it, and then move on and stop thinking about it. Pick a time out the day where you can sit down in silence, see yourself having and doing with all the things that you want to do, all the things you want to have, with who you want to do it with. See it as accomplished. Give thanks to the divine intelligence that it has came true, that has been given to you. Move on and stop caring. And then also to adopt the feeling of, well, if it doesn't happen, it's not the end of the world, you know? And so those are pretty much all my tips and tools and tricks to deal with negative emotions, anxiety, worry. You know, if you're worried that you're not getting the things that you want, or you're stressed about a future event or a potential future circumstance, you know, try to put this stuff into practice, and I promise it will make a significant difference. So thank you all for spending time with me today, watching, and I will see you later. Thank you.